What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to be doing another EDC walk and talk. What am I talking about today? Today I wanted to go through what I perceive to be my most popular knives when I post on Instagram. Now I do also do short videos here, but it's a little harder to gauge on YouTube, the shorts, because sometimes I'll post a pocket dump and I'll post that knife and it'll get thousands of views, which is mind-blowing. Sometimes more views than I have subscribers. And then other times that same video, depending on how I'm presenting it or what time of day, doesn't do as well. What I have found is actually when I post videos at 11 a.m., that video always does the best viewership than any other video. And I've been posting at 6 a.m. for so long that I am apprehensive to change my format to release my videos at 11, because I don't want people that have gotten used to and or prefer looking at the video at 6 a.m. to be looking for it at 11, because that means that those folks won't actually get to see it till the following day. I may change that in the future, but I just noticed that 11 a.m. seems to be the sweet spot where I'm at, which is East Coast in the US. Those videos at 11 a.m. always outperform any other release time. 6 a.m. doesn't even come close to when I do something at 11. Having said that, it is much easier on Instagram to see which knives perform the best. So in no particular order, I'm just going to go through the 5 knives that I post on Instagram that actually get the most views and or are received. Now, I am going to say there's a caveat for one of these knives because there's 2 variants, but the combination of the 2 perform exceptionally well as far as folks that like the pocket dump and the picture that I take of it. So first and foremost is going to be the wife-sponsored Benchmade bug out. This particular variant, especially with these anodized blue scales, the gray hardware, and the green thumb studs and standoffs. This one here gets a lot of comments and compliments. It gets a lot of likes, and I'm always asked, where did I get the scales? And I always have to explain, I got these from Flytanium. It is their Lotus scales that is cut and contoured specifically for the bug out, and it is one of the most beautiful milled designed pocket clips handles that I've seen for the bug out. And I anodized it, and I think that's what trips people up. I think that they're hoping they can go out and get this exact color. And I'm happy if anyone picks these up to try to do these. I did them with 3 9-volt batteries, but I now have a DC power supply that I know how to get that, and it'd be a little bit more of a uniform color. So if you're interested in that, I'm happy to help. Going down a little bit from this would be, well, I don't want to do that because that's going to be the next knife. So what I'll do is I'll leave it out here and I'll talk about it. So this one here, and again, these are not in any particular order because I didn't really do any research. But, yeah, let me put it on the top so that way as I fidget with the other ones, I'm not bumping into them. Definitely one of the most well-received knives that I see out on Instagram. The next one is going to be the TW Price Dawn. I have not done anything to this one. This is in its factory form. However, these are limited runs. But because of the success of the first run, I know that... I can't remember his first name. I know it's TW Price, but I can't remember his first name right now off the top of my head. But this is a Best Tech build. It is TW Price design, and it is a very comparable knife to the bug out. It's not the same knife, but it is very similar, and I'm assuming inspired by this because very similar lengths, very different handle designs, both very thin slicing knives. The Dawn is actually a little bit, as you can see, thinner throughout the stock of the blade, but very, very good EDC size is what I would say on this particular one. But a lot of people always ask, what knife is it? Where did I get it? And I always explain to just follow him on Instagram. He's getting ready to do a lottery. I don't think it'll be ready in time by the time this gets published. I've moved EDC Walk and Talk to Thursday because I found that I don't have the time until the weekend to record this because all of my other edits are recorded videos are edited in advance, so they're pushed out. So I'm just moving this to a later day in the week, and hopefully not really throwing anybody off too much. So Sundays are going to continue to be just any other type of video that I do, and then these will be moved to like a Thursday. But I like this one. It came in 2 offerings. It came with the black washed and I think stone wash blade, and then the hand rubbed blade with the satin finish, which I think these were a little bit more expensive. And then there is the Damasteel variant, and then he offered some Damascus pocket clips and pivot collars with that as well. I have debated, because purple's not really my thing, but I also don't want to mess with it too much, so I kind of go back and forth. But I think a little bit of a blurple would look a little bit better than the purple, and this is not a knife that's on the list, but something that kind of, you see how that moves around? I think that would look a little bit better in the pivot collar. So I debate sometimes removing that anno and doing my own. But this is another knife that absolutely on Instagram gets a lot of likes and gets the most questions, I would think, for a standard knife that I have out there that I have not done anything to. I get a lot of questions on the knives that I mod, but I definitely get a lot of comments on that one. The next pair of knives are the ones that I was talking about. So first I'm going to bring out the fat carbon variant of the Demco 80-20.5 with the Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip and the fat carbon backspacer. This one here absolutely gets a ton of likes. A lot of people comment of the colorway of the Arctic Storms with the blacked out hardware and blade. This one is the Austin A variant. I definitely get a lot of comments on this one. The one that I've done most recently, though, is actually going to be the other variation of this knife, which is going to be the clip point 3V version with the original goat scales that have the shark's teeth on them. It has the jimped out backspacer on it, and it also has the Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip that came with the faded. On this particular pocket clip, I did dip the tip because it was blurple to purple. So I wanted a little bit of blue to kind of help match it up a little bit, and I made sure to put a little bit of blue in that backspacer, so it has some blue, purple, and then it has the bronze on there, which I think came out really nice. Both these have the Rocket Glide skiffs in there, but these two for sure of the knives that I've modded to a degree. I mean, I haven't done anything with the blade. This is the 10A, this is the 3V clip point. I picked this one up when it first dropped from Knife Center, but I believe now you can get them from, with the titanium from Blade HQ, I believe. Definitely get a lot of comments, likes, and some questions on this. Where'd you get the scales? I did get these from Carbodize. I haven't picked up any scales from him recently, but I know that his popularity has grown to the point where he is very busy. So I try not to even tag him anymore in the videos, because I know that he gets a lot of, because he was already starting to slow down a little bit in responding to me. He would respond, but sometimes it would take a while. So I knew that was definitely a clue to me that he was slowing down because he was starting to get a little bit overwhelmed, and understandably so. He does a fantastic job with the work that he does, and he's a great person to work with. I very much like him. I'm going to move these the other direction so that you can see their pocket clips there, but he slowed down a little bit. You can get RGT for roughly around the same price, but the nice thing about working with Carbodize, Spencer over on Carbodize, he goes by Carbodize, I'm sorry, Spencer, is you can ask. So when I got the purple haze ones, actually, was it the purple haze or was it these blue ones? I can't remember now. The blue ones. I actually asked him to leave a little bit more material between the liner and here so that my finger was not touching the back of the knife. So these are the ones that he did that for me, because on the purple ones, which are exactly the same cut as the factory, you would actually touch the back of the blade here, which rubs along the shark's lock here, and it's going to be a little hard to see that here, and you just get a little bit of buildup, and every time you would touch it and come off, it'd be on the finger. So I just asked him to leave a little bit more material there for me, which he was able to do. And then I also asked him not to put the lanyard hole on there, which is the same thing that I did with Original Goat. No extra cost to do it through Carbodize, but Original Goat, I guess because they're manufacturing them exactly to spec and they probably have the pre-made ones, when I asked them to remove the lanyard hole, because I think that looks better, a little bit more of a cost there, but I think that's probably because they have to actually make that one, whereas they probably normally just make the lanyard hole in it. Getting down to the last two knives, for sure, this has got to be close to one of my most popular posting knives on Instagram. And it also has a set of fat carbon scales on it from Carbodize, and that is going to be my Spyderco smock. I removed the speed holes, or I asked him to remove the speed holes and the lanyard hole. So I think that really cleaned up the look a lot. I have the Jungle Wear fat carbon scales on here. These are flatliners. I'm sorry, they're not nested. They're flatliners. Really look good. I love the way that fat carbon came out on these. Lynch Northwest deep carry pocket clip for the Spydercos. I got that in that green to give it a little bit of pop and pick up these little sections of green that you see in here. And I think that came out really nice. This is the Blade HQ exclusive diamond nitrate M4 blade steel. It's a lot to remember. And that coating, I like that better than the DLC coating. I think it actually holds up better, and you still can see the grind lines, but I think it also masks when you're using the knife. And thought I cleaned it up, but it looks like it still has a little bit of gunk on the blade. But really, definitely one of my most liked, and I think that's partially because the smock itself is so popular, but there's not really too much else out there like that. If you get something from RGT or somewhere else, usually the speed holes and lanyard hole are still on it, and I think the delete on this particular one looks really good. I do have a set of Rocket Glide skiff bearings on here. Did come with steel bearings on there. I wanted the ceramic bearings from Skiff, from Skiff, so that's why I picked up the Rocket Glides. I think the last three knives that I have the Rocket Glides on there, and obviously the first two don't because these are washers, but the first two do not. I'm going to be doing a disassembly video of the DW Don Price here in the not too distant future, but the smock for sure, one of the most popular. And again, whenever the scales are done on a knife, or the pocket clip surprisingly gets a lot of questions too, because the Lynches don't look like their traditional Spyderco pocket clips. They're a little bit different design. They're made to emulate the Demco, and they're super deep carry, and they're customizable because they're titanium. So Lynch does a fantastic job with his pocket clips. Last but not least, and this is definitely 100% because of the maker, I don't get as many questions about what I've done with the knife since I've got it, because of the fact that it really doesn't need too much done to it. Having said all of that, the other knife that's on the list, and probably not as popular as the ones that I've customized and modified, but it still gets a lot of likes because of what it is, that's going to be the Chris Reeve Knives Umazon. So I think this one's going to be pretty self-explanatory. It's an Umazon. I think it's probably one of the most sought-after models. It's not quite as popular as the Sebenza, which is their flagship in my opinion. But for sure, once you get the Sebenza and you start to learn about the community, I think the Zon is like the next most sought after knife in their lineup. And this one here, definitely a work knife. What I've done with this one is I took the standard black lanyard off and the silver lanyard barrel. It didn't have a bead. And I put the blue on there to give it a little bit of pop of color because I really love their blue anno. And I picked up just the gray to kind of match the body. It does not need the lanyard, but it is a Chris Reeve. I think if I got a Sebenza, I'd probably just take the lanyard off. But in this instance, I decided to leave that on there and pick up their bead that matches the actual barrel. And then I picked up an RGT stone-washed titanium pocket clip, and I did the anode to try to get as close as I could to matching that. I think in some lighting it looks pretty similar, and then I think when you get some shadows because of the curvature here, you can see there's a little bit of difference. It was hard to get it to match exactly, but I think the pop of color from those two things look really, really good. And again, it's an Umazon, so the reason that this one gets as much attention as it does is because it is a Chris Reeve. It is an Umazon. Sorry, I can't quite get these in frame because of the length. If I try to go top to bottom, I wouldn't have enough space. Let me know, what's your favorite knife? I don't necessarily, if you post on Instagram, you can talk about what has gotten the most attention for sure, or what you feel like gets the most interaction or association with you. I don't think I have any particular one, but I would like to know what's your favorite build out of these. Which one or two gets your attention the most. I'd love to see that. I know these are facing the wrong way. It's driving me nuts if you have OCD like I do. I can't believe I made it to the end of the video without flipping them over to all match the same direction. But anyway, which one of these, and let me know which one of your own knives that you love the most, that you've modded or has come from the factory, because I know there's a lot of people that are offering fact carbon, etc., etc. Let me know that down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, leave a like. If you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you follow along as I continue to grow the channel. Thanks to everyone who is already subscribed, leaving likes and comments. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you have a fantastic week, and until next time, peace.